Thank you for staying with us. Well, in these tough times, renting an apartment or a home can be very costly, but renting becomes even more stressful when you're locked into a lease and you have maintenance issues. We have a viewer question that deals with this problem. B. Green writes, I live in an apartment complex in North Macon that has had multiple maintenance issues. The water's been turned off 3 to 4 times in the past 2 months, and when I came home from vacation, there were leaks in my apartment. Am I required to pay rent for this month and honor my lease even though the apartment complex is not offering the necessary utilities? Well, here to talk about the options is attorney Adam Peoples of James W. Davis and Associates. Adam, Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. Hope 2013 is treating you well so far.
Very good. I appreciate being here.
So what legal advice would you give a person who has this issue if they came to you?
Well, she raised 2 different things. One would be the leak, and then the other would be the, I think, the water disconnect. Water disconnect kind of falls into one of those things where if an apartment complex needs to stop your water for a brief period of time to do repairs, I think that's reasonable, and there's not going to be a claim for that. At the point where it rises to the level of making your home uninhabitable, you can't bathe, you can't drink, you can't do necessary essential things, then it creates a bigger issue.
Yeah, you're like going to the gym to shower and things like that.
Yeah, then you have more of a claim. But I think an apartment complex should be entitled to fix your water system without having to pay damages.
Now, can management sue you if you try to break your lease because of ongoing issues or things like that, or they have to be? You have to really look into the contract and the lease agreement in order for them to do that.
With any legal thing, there's a process. If you just self-serve and you decide, you know what, I don't like what they've done, I'm going to walk out, then yes, management can sue you. Now, you could countersue them and say they breached first.
Anybody can sue for anything.
Anybody can sue anybody. That's the way it works. But, the idea is who's going to win in the end. And if you have documented things where you told management, look, this isn't right, I've got a problem, please help me, and they refuse to do it, then you may need to do something.
So ignored maintenance requests, things like that. If you document all that, just writing it down will suffice, or do you have to send an email to somebody, make sure that it's all in written form? What would that be?
Because we're asking for management to do something, you want evidence that you did ask them to do something, and your word against his isn't very good. So I would recommend sending a certified letter where they have to sign for it, saying I received a letter. In that letter, dictate exactly what happened and what your claims are, and then give them a reasonable amount of time to fix it, say 10 days. If you haven't fixed the leak in 10 days, then I'm going to pursue legal action. Now,
if your lease says something like management is responsible to require or to provide utilities such as water and electricity at your expense, but like you said, it goes on for days, then do you have a way out of your lease at that point if the lease says that?
Well, you made a good point, and let me say that first of all, that your lease is what governs this agreement. What we're talking about is common law, but there may be terms in your contract that make that different. But with regard to your question, if they do have something set apart in the lease and they fail to do that, that would constitute a breach of the contract, and you would be entitled to damages.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate Adam you coming on. And if you have a legal question, you can email it to us, and we'll answer it right here on the air, just like we did today. Send it to itsthelaw@41nbc.com.